the crew did a bit of bandying about town.
Yes.
Plume, for the most part, took care of the moth girl that she has dubbed Shroom.
And delved into alcoholism.
And
know what you're talking about.
Adre went to investigate or to gather some information at the cathedral and was told by Caden that the high priest of the god of death wished to speak with not only him, but the rest of his crew as well.
Yeah, he's sus. He's like 2 steps from venting.
Yes, Warren and Urist took some time trying to figure out how best to handle Rocky and trying to keep Rocky warm. But Urist Eshton's father's estate was maybe not the best place to find that, so they made their way to the Axe and Boot, where Ifany helped out. And while they were doing all of this, pieces were beginning to move. Quinn was MIA, doing a bit of information gathering on his own, meeting up with the fence Mora, and doing a couple of other errands about town. And the group finally came back together at Clume and Quinn's home, at their apartment, where the Moth Girl had a reaction to Rocky. After doing some investigation and scouting outside the wall, including passing the tree that Rakanal apparently spawned from, or is a part of. Nobody's really sure. They managed to put a stick in the hand of the Moth Girl and get a sketch out of her. Very simple, refrigerator-worthy drawing of her, Rocky, her mother, and a door. Through a mix of communication and frustration and effort, that was the message that was finally given over.
So, just to review, the picture that we got out of her, there was some talk when we were ending about it possibly being related to Clume's origin.
Yes.
So, it's the potential of something otherworldly.
Oh, Clume's origin. Potentially. It seemed that that somehow Rocky is involved in the opening of some sort of doorway. Now, obviously, you guys as player characters are thinking, oh, well, maybe it's to the Feywilds or something like that, but you don't know that for certain.
Fair enough. So,
just a second. Can I'm going to go out on a limb and have Audrey cast Identify on Rocky.
Okay.
Oh. Someone's doing smart.
Okay. So, Identify, I believe, requires a certain reagent, including a pearl worth at least 100 gold. Is that something that you have on your person?
I don't think it's consumed.
If you don't, you could probably convince Warren to give you 100 gold.
If the reagent has a gold value, then it is consumed.
I don't specifically have a pearl on me, but I do have the money for one.
Then step 1, buy a pearl.
Okay. I'd like to go buy a pearl.
Okay.
I don't know what you're expecting.
Do you tell this to your adventuring party, I'm assuming?
Yes, and why I'm going to be using it. I may be able to have some insight into Rocky's origin now that we know that it is beyond the mundane. And unfortunately, I do have to go and buy a somewhat expensive reagent in order to manage it.
Oh, it's a good idea. I didn't even think about giving Rocky a checkup. Don't worry, I've got the gold right here for you. So Warren's gonna take out his gold pouch and like dig out 100 gold and hand it over.
Okay.
Oh, and before I head to the what shop would have that?
So the first shop that comes to mind, at least the one that is closest to you, is, as I mentioned before, a sort of a mall known as Croft Crescent. It is a mall, much like much of Arcala. It is tall, with the first several floors being devoted to a variety of shops. Above that, apartments. The very bottom layer of floors, or the first floor of this mall, are all squeezed together. This cacophony of noise and smell and sights of all manner of color and signage and people pressing in close together to buy street food or clothing or daily goods that they may need. Going up a floor, you find a little bit more breathing room. You find places that sell more exotic goods, either spices that are in more high demand, or art pieces, or jewelry, or finer clothing. And then in the very top of the third floor, before it becomes the apartments, you have the nicest and most expensive of stores. Places featuring paintings and fine dress and all sorts of things like that. As you and your group approach, you can see that here in the middle of the day, as we get into the evening, the dinner rush is on. And people are coming to buy food either for themselves or their families. They're snacking on skewers of some meat that has been procured, or big ears of corn that have been slathered in butter and spices, or tasty little pastries that have been created out of puff and fried in oil. The smells and the sounds of all these food being prepared immediately welcoming you into this space. All the shops face inwards, with only a select few facing outwards. So in order to make any sort of progress, your party has to press between bodies of all manner of different individuals of all races and bodies, finally entering into the Croft Crescent proper. All of you are familiar with this place, either by reputation or having been here before. It is one of a couple of different market areas, but definitely one of the more popular ones in this particular era. There are other markets that are built very, very similarly, but some cater more to older folk, or some cater more to younger folk. This one is a panoply of everything, attracting people from all parts of the city. Pressing in, Adre, the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of fancy pearls in terms of reagents for your spell is to go up a floor into some of the jewelry shops that line the balconies that overlook the center of this area. You can see them from the bottom floor through a canvas of different banners and cloth and different overhangs of all different riotous colors. But you make your way up a short flight of stairs and onto a stone and wood walkway that goes all around the inner rim of the Croft Crescent, and your eye sets on a particular jewelry store that has a great display of gemstones and other fine rocks and art pieces behind very sturdy cases.
Do be sure you get the one that sells watches, not the one that watches sells.
Yes.
You want a jeweler, not a jailer.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Adre is, of course, going to be playing up the old man routine, hunched extra hard on his quarterstaff and one hand at the small of his back as he walks. Sort of playing the fool as he comes in looking around.
Okay. She calls out and says, "Welcome to Montague's. I am Mary Montague. Let me know if there is anything I can do to help you."
Oh, yes. Hello, Mary. What a fine day.
Yes, it's been a nice evening. I'm glad to see that the weather has evened out.
Absolutely. Though I'm still feeling it in my bones.
No, it's rare that I find people older than me, but yes, I know what you mean.
He flashes his warm smile. And
I'm slowly getting like chills down my back.
and he takes a pointed look down into the the nearest case that has that might have the pearls or simpler gemstones. I'm looking for a gift for my granddaughter. I have a jeweler who's working on it, but I need a pearl to set inside.
Of course, of course. Let's see, we have our specialties here, and she hobbles over and opens up a drawer behind the case, and then pulls out a small, short box lined with a little bit of cloth, and she places it up on the counter. And across it are a variety of different sizes of pearls, all about the same luster across the top. And she says, let me know if there's anything here that you're looking for, some particular size or color.
Well, I do have a small bit of a budget today. After paying to have it set, I'm only going to have about 100 coin left.
Oh, then perhaps one of these. And she takes, with her spindly fingers, she picks one up and holds it up to the light, and it gleams prettily. And she says, this one here ought to do. And it's about the size of your thumb. It's rather large.
Ah, that looks marvelous.
Good, then shall I wrap it up for you?
Yes, that would probably be for the best.
Wonderful.
We have a well, he is quite large, but he is much of a small child. I can't have him playing with it.
Of course, of course. She goes and folds the pearl up in an envelope and wraps that in a bit of paper, and the exchange is made. You now have a pearl, and you are down 100 gold.
All right. Audrey gives her a tip of his hat and thanks her for her time. And I'll make sure to recommend this fine establishment to my friends.
Please do.
And he hobbles his way out back to his group.
Okay.
As they're walking back to Clume's place, Audrey's going to hand over that Final Son book that he got from the library to Worst.
Okay.
Because it's in Dwarven.
Ah, yes.
This I don't know if this is going to pertain to our situation, but in the libraries it was the most interesting possibility that I was able to come across. Unfortunately, it's in Dwarven.
Well, now that's not a challenge. Thank you much. Let's see what we got.
If only we knew someone who knew how to read dwarf.
Oh, if only there was a dwarf in our group. Dang it.
Aye, lad. If only there was a lass among us who was both smart and beautiful and beardy enough to understand the fine language of runic.
Well, one out of three isn't bad. Anyways.
Clume looks around. Where?
How dare you insult my beard like that?
Yes, ribbing happening on the way back to Clume's place. You ascend the stairs, and inside you see that Quinn is already there, testing out some new armor.
Ooh.
He also probably has a few bags worth of groceries that are sitting on the counter now.
Did you turn in the sketch?
Huh? Oh, wait, sorry. Was that actually Warren-esque?
No. I was busting the door. But what about the sketch?
You worked so hard on it.
But yeah, yes, he did.
All right. Put the child up here, Warren.
Warren's like,
Child? Question mark?
but of course. So he goes and he fishes out Rocky. And he's about to put it on the table, and he stops. He narrows his little lights in his eyes, and he kind of pulls back. This doesn't involve fire, does it?
No. Maybe a flash of light, but that's about it.
Be careful. After all, you're holding the egg that holds Darian's new character.
Oh my god.
What?
What?
Oh no, sorry, not Starions. Padunks.
Padunk's
Padunks.
guest appearance. Yeah.
We were constantly Padunk was joking that she'd totally just play a tiny little earth elemental, and we're like, Rocky!
Rocky works!
I mean, with the Earth Genasi lineage thing, she totally could.
So Warren slowly puts Rocky on the table, but he doesn't break eye contact with Adre. He's like, okay, you may proceed.
But you may not disappear off into the woods with my child. I know how this can
I know how
go.
this work goes.
Wrong person to be accusing of being a fae.
All he heard was Fey Wilds, and he was like, no, they're all in on it.
While Zephane's character's doing this, you just see Clume just like taking the initiative and trying to put the groceries back, but she can't reach the top shelf.
Quinn
Quinn
will help
goes to
her.
check it later, and everything's on the bottom 2 shelves.
See what happens.
Or some
Yeah.
tunes for pipes.
Okay, so
Now,
you begin the casting of the spell.
I'm going to be casting it as a ritual,
Yeah.
so that I don't consume my spell slot.
Sure. So instead of it taking the normal 1 minute, it's going to take 10 minutes.
11.
Yes.
Oh.
It
11?
adds 10.
Yeah.
Oh, it adds 10. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
okay. Touche.
Yeah.
Sorry. Touche per 2.
You set out the materials that you'll need: an owl feather, a pearl. You reference your spell book, draw the proper symbols with your hands, speak the appropriate words, and begin the casting of the spell as arcane magic begins to flow out from you. Bounces off of this enlarged rock and enters your mind. Information coming in slowly, piece by piece, as you would expect it would by ritual casting it. And Adre has an answer, though not at cost, not without cost.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh.
As the information comes into your mind, Adre, you begin to get flashes of places you've never seen before. Flashes of verdant greenery, unlike any forest around Arcala. Flashes of creatures that flitter here and there, phasing in and out of sight, perhaps even existence. You get flashes of doorways that don't look like doorways, and keys that don't look like keys,
Mhm.
and an image of a dragon of yellow and black.
Oh, thank God. For a moment, I thought you were going to say a mask with blades.
No, just wait. The next sentence before you cut him off was, now make a charisma save.
Yeah, make an intelligence save.
See? There you go.
Oh.
Let's see here.
This is the
one of
one
the-
thing wizards are good at. Come on.
It's one of the
Right.
fancy ones, but it is one of their good ones.
15.
You take 1 point of psychic damage.
Okay.
Scratches his head like, huh?
How do I even mark that on these sheets?
I just tell you the kind of damage it is, but it's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
You
all
Take your
damage
HP down
smash.
by 1. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the answer does come to you. Rocky is a waystone.
Oh.
A waystone that, if given the correct ritual under the correct circumstance, can open a door.
Oh. And I wanted to use it as a weapon.
Oh my God.
Is that the end of the information and the ritual?
That is everything you get.
All right. So as the ritual ends, Audrey lets out a scream and is blown back in his chair, like knocked back over, with a thin green smoke coming up from his eyes.
Oh.
Is that what causes the 1 damage?
Before he blinks and slowly sits up, grasping for the edge of the table.
Warren very rapidly grabs Rocky and pulls him back.
Son of a bitch.
Ursa, meanwhile, slowly puts away her pipes. You okay there? Get the shiitake cooked over you?
He narrows his eyes at Urus before he shakes the ringing out of his head. All right, I have an answer. Oh, God, that hurt. He's a waystone. Rocky's a waystone.
Oh, is that some kind of a key to victory? Is he is that some kind of like a
key to someplace else? And something has an eye on it.
Rocky, did you hear that? You're gonna be a hero.
Bloom kind of looks over towards Warren, and she kind of like mutters very, very softly, "Yeah." To see if he would think Rocky said it.
Did he just speak his first words? Oh my goodness, I got to hear them.
Well, hold on. So I don't expect this to change the outcome, but Clume, roll a deception check.
Can I just fail my?
I mean, you can, but I still want to see how well you are fooled.
Well,
You may still opt to fail this, but for everyone else in the room, it's painfully obvious what happened.
I'm a hell of failing. He's bouncing. He's visibly bounced up and down. Like, can you say one? Say one. I can't. Somebody's
One.
delivering ventriloquism. One.
I want to believe that gif. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Proudfather.mp4.
Exactly.
God.
The first thing that strikes you is that you don't learn how to use it, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's earning.
Very
That's
standout.
obviously the first thing that strikes you. You've used identify before. That's how you know the spell. You've used it to identify all manner of things and very few of them have been magical, but those that have been magical, you've been able to use without issue.
Mm-hmm.
That information was withheld from you, and
Possibly by Dragon McGoldscale there.
possibly. However, you do understand that I have to look something real quick.
When you go completely against what the DM planned for.
You do understand that it is I just have to look up what the type of spell is. That it is of conjuration.
Okay.
Oh.
And
So was Rocky created by conjuration, or was he imbued to be a waystone?
you don't know
It's
if Rocky was created through the manner of conjuration, but you do know that the magic that Rocky exudes, and that however you use Rocky, uses the conjuration magic.
out of game. That's not particularly surprising, since conjuration is the school of both summoning and teleportation.
Yeah.
So, and that it becomes rather clear. It's like, oh, conjuration, of course, because it likely conjures a door,
Yes.
for example.
Opens a portal, but yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I had that right. So that's what you're dealing with. You have it's conjuration, which makes sense if it is indeed a key to a door, or that it summons a door, or that it teleports you somewhere. That makes sense. However, the method to use it has been restricted from you. You think that possibly that roll an Arcana check actually before I say anything more. Yeah,
22.
that's what I figured. Okay, 22. Yeah. So you think that possibly the reason that you took damage was some part of this, either that the usage of it is so complex that your mortal mind could not behold it, and that's why you took some psychic damage, or that there is some sort of other protective charm that is preventing that knowledge from being gleaned.
In before it opens a gate to the far realms.
And of course, I don't have a dispel magic spell.
God.
Don't repeat that,
Spell
chat. It's
magic.
not actually a thing. Don't look into it.
Yeah, dispel magic only works on spells of lower level than the one you cast. You're not even sure if a dispel magic would work on this.
Right. All right. So Adre is leaning on his hands on the table, and his brow is deeply furrowed and annoyed. I don't know what is causing it, but I should be able to see the trigger for anything I cast this spell on.
So
And it's not there. It's shrouded. Something's
Brief
keeping it
clarification.
from me.
Sorry. Brief rules clarification. Dispel magic can be used on higher level spells, but it requires a caster level check with, and the higher the level of the effect, the harder the check is. So it
Touché,
might be approaching impossible, depending on how big it is.
Yeah.
And so
he's saying yeah, because he's like,
Audrey's
anything
gonna have a
possible.
Audrey's gonna have a quick glance over at our resident nascent god.
Yeah, Warren was gonna put Rocky on the table, then reach up and then grab Ragnar. Kind of like he's kind of holding him upside down because he went up, grabbed on his head, and pulled.
Oh yeah,
it
yeah.
forward.
Then you pull it forward, just straight forward. Okay, so it looks like Ragnar is taking a nosedive as you just carry him forward. Cool. Yeah, Ragnar. I mean, it doesn't resist, but clearly looks perturbed.
As you do. Like,
And Audrey's just gonna give Ragnar a little look and it's like, hey, you picked your champion.
Yep.
it's like, would you might be able to tell us a little bit more about whatever Adre was talking about? I didn't quite understand. Someone's blocking his magical mojo, and could you remove it? The blockage, that is. Do they have medicine for that?
That's so bad. Hold on, I have to recover from my own psychic damage that I just took from that. Okay.
Oh, magical mojo.
So, Ragnar looking perturbed and looking at you from upside down, this little sparrow skull glaring at you from beneath your armored gauntlets, explains, "No, my realm, my domain, is far from that of the arcane types, or whatever this rock may be. I know not from whence it was hewn."
Do you happen to have a contact? Is there a potion shop or something that we can get in contact? Is there a professional you might recommend us to?
I have not been alive for centuries. I have no contacts left in this world.
Just, if you could use your little god powers that the gods do, right? To just sort of know things. Gods just know things, right?
Oh, yes. We know a great many things.
Excellent.
Clume touches her throat. She's like, you got a little phlegm there.
Erst nods. A great many things. Just
If
not
you could-
where the shop is.
If you could just write down an expert we could contact, that'd be great.
Right down an expert.
Oh god.
I mean, to be fair, literally a
Warden,
child is
Warden.
probably an expert to Warren.
Warden,
Yeah.
you're probably asking things that are beneath your god's notice at the moment. Warden, Erst gives a big knowing wink to the bird.
The bird, even though its head is only a skull, you get the sense it's smiling at you.
So, while you were gone, we might have found a way to get us back home.
Quinn, he catches the carrot, but he just kind of stares at it, which Bloom would know is odd because usually he doesn't hesitate to munch. But his words get him to like prick up his ears, and he looks at her for a long moment.
It's like Quinn and Clume, like we're like those two buddies that instead of smoking, we eat carrots together.
Yeah. But yeah, he looks at her and tilts his head.
Yeah, it turns out little mushroom girl, oh by the way, I'm calling her Shroom.
Okay.
She's from where we are as well. And that rock that, Warren happened to just randomly pick up one day, as you probably heard Audrey talk about, is a waystone to get us back home. I don't know where that waystone can go, or if Warren will even let us use the waystone to get back, but yeah. So now we unfortunately have to lug around that giant-ass rock with us some more until we figure out where the hell it goes.
Quinn decides just kind of like sit down on the edge of his bed, still staring at the carrot in his hands, and just takes a deep breath. He's like, okay, info dump, all right.
See, this is what happens when you leave the house for like the 20th time this month.
We gotta get groceries. These carrots don't grow on trees.
No, they grow
They
on
don't
the
just
ground.
grow in the earth.
Wow.
You think these just pop up out of the ground
I
from
know.
nowhere? Jeez.
Just out of reach, huh, Warren?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
I'm
know.
all for taking the rock in the middle of the night, leaving Arcala, and trying to figure out where the hell that waystone goes. But, like, I think if it's just us two out there, we probably won't last a couple of days, so I don't know. But, I mean, there's also, we could ask everyone to just prioritize the waystone, but then, like, when we figure out how to get home, they're going to be left alone, and then they'll probably die out in the wild, and that would be on my conscience, and I don't want to be on my conscience. Quinn, I don't know what to do.
Quinn, help.
Quinn just puts a hand on her head in the hopes to get her to just calm down.
Help! I hate them, but I am becoming attached.
One of those jobs that Mora gave me, my patron, as you know, and Clume would know exactly who Quinn is talking about. My patron is apparently looking for a dowry to propose to someone. So while we're out and about, if you happen to see something, let me know. Mora says they're looking for something of historical value.
You see Clume, she looks at Quinn, opens up one of the dressers and takes out a book, and then she starts flipping through it, and then you hear her mumble, "What the fuck's a dowry?" She got a dictionary.
A dowry is, I guess, a gift to the bride.
Okay.
In the
Oh,
simplest
goodness.
term possible.
Look, alright. Clume may have a +1 to intelligence, but it doesn't mean she knows words.
It's fine.
Don't we have to go talk to someone about this exiled one? Or, do something about this? And she looks at Arachno.
You know more about the people that live than I do.
Well, did Adre mention that someone wanted to see them or no?
I don't think he mentioned to Clume and Quinn. He was about to,
Okay.
though.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so Audrey sort of sighs. I hate to say it, but we do have a trap to walk into.
Trap?
The head of the church wants to see us, all of us at the same time. Specifically, all of us at the same time.
You go shopping, you get some things, Is there anything else that anybody else wants to pick up while we're on this particular topic?
Nope. I'm currently saving.
Let's see. Can't yet afford our next armor upgrade up, so probably still saving.
I know Quinn wanted to go pick up a few more supplies after having to draw the portrait for Mora, but I also wanted to ask about the other thing he has, Riley. But
The other...
Hint, oink, oink.
Text
the
to-
map.
Ah, the map.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, what do you do? Who do you ask about the map?
Oh god, I don't remember the NPC's name that I made.
The
on.
NPC's
Is it in our
name,
pen?
Barlier.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so Quinn would go talk to him.
Okay. Barlier is in a different part of town, and this being this late in the evening, you think his shop might be closed.
Okay. All right, no problem. We'll try
Another time.
day.
Yes. Another day.
Mhm.
Another day, another dollar.
Mhm.
Okay. So, at long last, after going shopping and handling a variety of other chores, with a resigned sigh, Adre leads the way to the cathedral. Well, probably Warren actually leads the way to the cathedral. Warren, I feel like, gets excited to go to the cathedral. Oh boy, here I go praying again.
Boy, here I go praying again.
You know,
Oh
all
my
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
God.
This man.
What does this remind me of? Right. This is the Ellie Greenwich song, right?
Yes.
So we're going to the chapel and we're gonna get harried.
I guess we'll see. So you guys arrive at the steps of the chapel. The large.
Alright, so Riley, real quick.
Yes.
It's like, all right, you guys go on ahead for 1 second. I'll be right there. And he's gonna go. I need to go and talk to Rostic real quick. I haven't seen him in quite some time, and I need to make sure that he knows I'm okay. He's a very big fan, you know. And he's gonna walk off and let the
He's just
party
gonna
go
walk
on.
off, okay.
Yeah, and let the party go. Go ahead and.
Oh boy.
Oh, Warren is not there. We'll come back to that in a moment.
Oh,
Great.
boy.
And
Don't
so
worry.
the four of you are the rest of you still together, or is everyone else fucking off in another direction as well?
He does talk to Adroit for a second
mean,
while the rest of the party
I'm
moves forwards.
really trying to railroad you guys.
It's all right. We'll get
Quinn
there.
really doesn't want to go, but he's here.
Audrey and
Unfortunately.
Plume do step aside with Warren for a moment before he goes.
Yeah, just for a
See-
moment.
Okay, so there's some
we'll
whispers
just
happening
wait
between the
until we're
players.
ready to go.
Oh.
You really want to do this to me?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh wait. Oh, I know.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay. Cool.
God.
Riley, if you don't mind us doing this real fast.
I don't know what you're doing, so
It's gonna be
you
great.
It'll be a
You may.
surprise. Don't worry.
It's gonna be
Alright.
great.
It'll be a great surprise. Wonderful.
Oh.
Clume, Warren, and Adre, we're all together.
Okay.
And
Well, hold it.
Clue-
Let's let it be a
You don't-
surprise for
Yeah,
Riley.
it's got to be a surprise.
So, long story short, the four of you are going into the cathedral. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we just needed a moment with Warren.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
so you
Bunkered
pull
off.
around. You pull around an alley or a corner, and you talk to Warren and do whatever you got to do.
yes.
That I'm sure will be amazing.
Wait. The thing. Would I have to let? I should probably let Riley know though what I have to consume to do that, right?
I think just make a
Keep
note of
track
it
of it. Yeah.
and
Okay.
let him know after.
Okay.
Maybe send it to him as a spoilered message at a table. What you would do is hand him an envelope
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
while you're doing
Okay.
it, so that it makes it clear that you're not retconning.
Okay. I'll do it right now.
Sure. Okay.
Also,
Alright.
Riley, should we take a quick break before this? I think we're about halfway in.
Oh my God, we are.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
so
that, yeah.
I'll just describe this, and then we'll take a quick break.
Okay.
Stepping up the four of you, with Warren mysteriously absent, come up to the great cathedral of Arkala. The large stone pillars marking the entranceway of several massive doors that, even in the evening, are still open as the evening sermons you can hear echoing down the great hallways and out into the streets around. Those that don't wish to enter the cathedral properly because they're too dirty from a day of work or for whatever personal reason they may have, you can kind of see occasionally will be praying outside the cathedral, sometimes simply standing, sometimes on knees, as they hear the sermon kind of echoing out from within. And it is there that you begin your trek upwards. And Caden is there at the entrance, recognizing you and smiling. As you walk into the cathedral and you see the big vaulted ceilings, giving this space its sense of grandeur and also the acoustics that it has, allowing voices to carry and mingle up in the air and around the space within. You walk forward, and Caden, dressed in his blue robe, steps forward and says, oh, good. I'm glad you could all make it. We really need your help. Warren's not with you?
He couldn't find a babysitter.
Don't you worry. I assume he'll be along in a little bit. Let us begin without.
Right. Anyway, so come with me. I have somebody that would like to meet you.
All right.
In we go. Through the cathedral, Caden takes you to this space. This isn't the full cathedral itself. This is a side room. Decorated plainly. You can see the stone floors give way to wooden floors that creak a little bit under your footsteps, and there's a variety of people here, some of them waiting, praying, very few people occupying the pews themselves, but off to the side and seeming anxious.
Are we up, down, or still level?
You are at the bottom of this map. What do you mean?
No.
Up, down, level?
In terms of floor, did we go up a level, down a level?
Same level.
Okay.
No up and down stairs. The same level, just far in the back of the cathedral.
Okay.
And this in and of itself looks like a small place of worship, and you can tell from the motifs, as well as the skeletons that are standing at attention at the very back of this space, that it is an area dedicated to the god of death. But that doesn't quite explain the pensive look on people's faces as they wait. There's a man at the far end, up by the podium. A dark elf with almost black skin, dark gray skin, silvery hair that frames his face and is tied back into a taut ponytail, though at this point looking a little bit disheveled. He wears black and red regalia, a long tabard that has a variety of skull and bone motifs going across it, especially along the filigree at the edges, where each stitch looks like a small bone in and of itself. Caden brings you forward and says, I'm here to introduce you to High Priest Norik Torperos of the God of Death. And I'm going to type that in the chat. There we go.
Suppose I should take that down.
Or I want to take that down.
We're into the codex.
The
Put it
man
in there.
steps forward, and as he does, as he approaches, you get the sense that he's standing very, very straight and tall. As he gets closer, you can see his features a little bit more clearly, the crow's feet that splay out from his eyes, and some heavy bags under his eyes as well. His eyes very, very dark, near black, set in the, typical white sclera, but that much darker as a result. He comes to meet with Caden, nods to the acolyte, and Caden steps aside. I am Norik Torperos. You are the group I've heard so much about. Ah, that's right, Warren's not there. Forgive me.
Yeah.
You are Adre, I assume?
The old man nods. He's, of course, playing up the routine again, hunched and one hand at his back.
And we have the rest of your compatriots, if you would not mind introducing me.
To my right, we have Urst of Clan Ashton.
Well met.
We have
Well met.
Clume. I'm not sure if she's more goblin or mushroom at this point, although I'm one to talk.
Bloom.
She gives a little like shy nod, but then turns and gives like a pout over to Audrey.
He gives that old man grandpa grin.
Grandpa grin.
And then nods the I know my jokes aren't funny, but I'm still gonna make them grin.
So a dad joke.
And then nods to Jen Kunal and our good friend Quinn.
Quinn. It's good to meet you, though I wish that I could meet you all in more pleasant circumstances. Though, to be fair, as the priest of the god of death, I seldom make introductions where death is not somehow involved.
Aye, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But today, I suppose I should be pleased to explain that I don't foresee any death today.
Well, that is a relief. Urs has herself a fond little grin. Here I was worried that we might be being summoned for a darker purpose, but if there is no death, how bad could it be, I suppose?
You see, his face is one of consternation. He doesn't know how to reply to that, actually. And he tilts his head just a little bit before finally straightening back up. I understand you all have some experience with the circumstances surrounding Tubei Zaldosic's demise.
I beg your pardon?
Or, let me rephrase. You know what he left behind.
Urs strokes her beard for a few moments. I do recall hearing some rumors about a tower and oddities found within.
Yes. Invariably, those oddities found their way here. He gestures to the other people in the room. These people have loved ones. And they are hoping that the great cathedral and this task that I have taken upon myself will be able to help them. Please, come with me. Caden, you are dismissed. Caden gives a bow and steps aside. And he leads you all back here. Just kind of carrying you all along. Opens a set of doors where two individuals dressed in robes. One, Clume, you recognize is not an acolyte, but instead is acting as a guard. I'll show you what I mean. The Aarakocra glances over to take the matter of everyone and kind of quirks a brow at Clume, but doesn't say anything. The other steps aside, and Norik Torperos guides you through. In these side rooms, these small chambers of worship, we have...
Oh, sorry, Riley.
Yes.
But I do believe that you've just earned yourself something. Would that happen to be Mech?
Yes.
As Urst passes, her eyebrows go up. She cocks a roguish grin and waggles those big bushy eyebrows at him.
Meg first notices Clume, obviously. Then, as his eyes scan across the rest of the party, he catches gazes with Urist, and he has a a moment of just raw confusion. This man, this Aarakocra with gray feathers that bleed out into yellow, and his armor set. Owlin, right. Owlin with his thin beak and his feathers going gray and then into yellow. His armor set tight and his weapon at the ready at his side in its sheath. Looks to Urist and has a moment of recognition, but keeps his beak shut. It is not the time or place for him to say anything. You can see there's a little bit of rosiness under his cheeks. Maybe not for the reason you expect.
As they're walking, Urs gives Adre a nudge. Do you see that? He was speechless.
Stick to the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Norik takes a step forward and presses open one of the doors into these back chambers of worship. And inside, you see mutants.
Lovely.
Victims of Tubei Zaldosic's experiments.
Wait, where's Shroom? Did we leave her at home?
Still on your back.
Okay.
I'm not saying I don't know, did we?
Secret mushroom.
Yeah.
Secret mushroom.
No, sorry. Secret moth shroom. There we are.
Secret mushroom. Secret mushroom. And die.
At this point, our group name should just be the Mushroom Patch.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
The fun guys. Yeah.
No! Our team name is not being a dad joke.
Oh, but it's so bad. Anyway.
It is.
Pushing the door open, a couple of these mutants, their attention snaps forward, but they don't move. They stay where they are. One of them huddled up in a blanket, another one clutching a pillow to its chest. They have a variety of afflictions. Some have razor-sharp teeth. One has an extra set of eyes set in its forehead. Another is covered in fur that doesn't fit well on its body, but is covered nevertheless from head to toe, looking like some sort of miniature Sasquatch. Norik gestures to the next room. It's the same there. These are the docile ones. The people waiting outside are hoping that within these mutants, a missing person, a missing loved one, can be restored. Another team, somewhat like your own, though just as different, brought to me the research notes of the Lich Zaldosic. And through those, I have been able to determine what I hope to be a cure.
Oh, that'd be some good news.
Yes. Most of the reagents that we need for this are easy to come by. Harrow's leaf, grave dust, things like that. But another requires an extra bit of heart. Heart enough to brave the walls beyond.
That's all anybody comes to us for anymore.
Your reputation did precede you.
First pats Adre on the back. Dinna worry. Someday you'll be known as a bartender.
Oh, that dream is dead and gone.
Speak now. What do you need us to retrieve?
He crosses his arms, preparing for rejection. You get the sense? And he says, I need the hearts of dire wolves, and as many as you can gather.
Ernst strokes her beard again. Dire wolves. Now, those would be the, not too big ones, yeah?
Indeed, not the great beasts that plague our city, but more of the regular kind.
Well, I doubt they're too much worse than any other big beastie we've faced thus far, though, do you happen to know where we would find them?
I don't. I haven't yet been able to speak with Greggy and Daenor on the matter. I was hoping you wouldn't mind getting that information from him.
Aye, we can certainly speak to him on the topic, if we can find a good place to get him, and if the danger doesn't seem too vicious. Perhaps. First nods. Aye, this definitely is a good cause for the city and its people.
Indeed. Though, Miss Clume,
Oh no, what did his elf eyes see?
I was informed that you had a mushroom cap, but not a mushroom back as well.
They've been appearing all over the place.
Look, I'm going through puberty. Leave me alone.
Come with me, if you wouldn't mind. And he leads you in, or he gestures into the room.
I would say Quinn steps forward for a moment. She's not going by herself.
That is fine. I have something that perhaps all of you would like to see. And he walks over to one of the bedrolls. And there he places a gentle hand upon the surface of the bedroll. And whispers just a soft, "It's all right. No one here will look at you." And the bedroll transforms. A ruffling of wings that unfolds and becomes gossamer as a woman covered in fluff with long antennae stretching out from her forehead reveals herself.
Oh.
Oh.
Clume doesn't move, but she kind of just lifts her staff and points it at her and says, "Who's that?"
Well, show the little mushroom on your back, and I think you'll find out.
In before it's her mom.
I mean, obvious plot point is obvious.
Yeah.
Clue grabs onto Quinn's hand and points her staff towards Audrey and lifts an eyebrow. And drags Quinn into the room. And Clue takes I guess she would go in and kind of like drag Quinn with her.
Okay.
She takes a knee, doesn't say anything, she just takes a knee and like hangs down her head so that the mushroom on her back gets a clear sight, but she doesn't say anything.
Okay. The Moth Girl responds. The mushroom disguise that she had taken to mimicking the one on your hat, on your head, dissipates as her wings similarly unfurl. And what you hear is odd, but what you see is heartwarming. As the Moth Girl immediately scampers across the ground to hug the larger moth creature across from you. In Elven, they speak, she speaks, "Mommy, mommy!" But then you get bits of, "Don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. Mommy, mommy, don't look at me."
Oh, no.
As the mother takes the child in her arms and holds her tight. Norik looks back to Clume and Quinn and says, "When Zeldosic cursed these people, they were from all manner of races and locations. He did not just mutate their bodies. Their minds became shattered. This one, I believe, these two, rather, They don't show any signs of being from Arcala like the others. We need those hearts to mend their bodies and their minds.
Bloom looks at him and then looks at Shroom and Mama Shroom, and then looks back at him and says, "Could I see this formula for their cure, if that would be at all possible?"
He knits his brow, but nods. Yes. Come with me. And he guides you back through the main hall and takes you up to the podium.
Ernst insists that the rest come along and drags Adre with, since Ernst is immediately doing the whole, maybe our Arcanist should have a look at this, too.
I mean, if he can't read it, but Klum knows the language.
He pulls out a notebook bound in red leather. No great markings about it, but it looks old. And he opens it up. And right upon the first page, it's not like there's no introduction, there's no organization, there's no table of contents. It just immediately goes into the notes of a madman.
Oh.
It isn't
As one
common.
does.
And he brings it down to Klum's level so that she can see as well. Opens the book and flips through it and says, "I am studied in alchemy, hexes, curses, and of course the god of death has blessed upon me knowledge of necromancy as well. Zaldosic, he was old when I was young. He had all of this time to compile formulas, hexes unlike anything I have ever seen before, all to create the victims that you saw in the other room. Here is where it seems to me that his research began." He draws his fingers across a page that begins speaking of other beings and other worlds, and how he begins measuring success based on measurements of docility and body type and species and 100 other parameters that are disorganized across any given page. And here begins the alchemy portion. And he starts showing you the lists of items that were used and magical reagents, and all sorts of things like that. Some of them incredibly common, the hair of a cat. Others strange, the teardrops of an aboleth, and other things besides. It is through tireless study of me and my acolytes over the past week, or the past not even that long. How long has it been? But we have discovered that there was always a way to revert failed experiments. Zaldosic knew that even living test subjects may be few in number, and so he devised ways to undo and reset them. And then he could experiment again all anew, to submit these people to even more atrocities. But here it is. He holds the book out to you, and you can see Harrow Leaf, Grave Dust, Direwolf Hearts, oddly, tomatoes, and
Needs a bit of the nightshade.
The enemy of
I
the
was going
terror.
to say it's a nightshade substitute.
The
Yep,
enemy
and
of the terror.
the tails of lizards.
Regenerative properties.
No.
All right, let's just go ahead and...
He's writing it down.
Oh, no, not that.
Oh.
Insight, 20. How does he feel about all this?
How does Torperos feel about all this?
Aye. Just trying to get a read on if he's being forward with us.
You get with a 20 insight. This is a man that has never seen such horrors before, and he is a worshiper of the god of death. But he's been thrust into a position where he is uniquely capable of helping the living. Not by consoling them and telling them that their loved one's spirit has gone to a better place, but potentially bringing back someone, not through necromancy, but through restoratives, through undoing a curse. This is a man that desperately wants to help these people, and is hoping that you can help him.
Very good. Very good indeed.
Audrey's going to take a glance over the recipe. Can I roll an Arcana to see if it even makes sense as to why it would work?
Absolutely.
Maybe reverse engineer. 23.
23, okay. Without knowing the full nature of the curse, you got a chance to look at the book and skim over some of the madness that was scrawled upon it, where it seemed that alchemy mixed with hexes and all manner of strange mutative, conjuration sort of spells were used in order to afflict these people in the first place. But this curative looks, or transmutation, yeah. This curative does look promising. It may be in kind of a way it strikes you as being almost like a cure-all, because of its. It seems that Zaldosic likely made it without really the consideration of the people he was giving it to.
As in, it would have wider application, or it would just kind of fix things?
That it would have wider application. This sort of thing, in decent amount, actually could cure possibly a number of maladies.
It's very telling that the madman, when confronted with, gosh, I have to be able to reverse at least some of this, ideally all of it, so I can try things again, rather than finding counter curses and counter hexes and such, he's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna invent a panacea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Audrey narrows his eyes at the recipe and then looks at our cleric friend there. Of course, I've written his name down. I've forgotten it.
Norik Torperos.
Norik,
It's in the chat.
It is.
Yes. I just went and looked at the codex. He looks at Norik and says, "The man was a mad fool, but this actually has broad applications. I think it'll fix far more than just what he's done to them."
Indeed. The early research that we have done with the limited supplies that we have suggests that it is possible this poultice, this potion, could have a variety of healing properties. Mass producing it without the requisite materials, however, is another story.
Urs nods a few times. You'd need to find an easy way to substitute the dire wolf art, I imagine. Otherwise, well, I expect attempting to keep a dire wolf kennel is going to be difficult for you.
Indeed. Part of me, may the gods forgive me for saying this, hopes that a great wolf might come, that its heart the size of a building could serve as the reagent for thousands of these potions.
Oh, aye, that's actually a really clever idea. You should make sure that if we do find one, that you take on hand a. I wonder if a single gentle repose would be able to preserve an entire great wolf. Do you think?
It would be an impressive sight, one that I have not yet seen even in my many years. I was here even when Spippin D. Winklebottom fought the great beast outside the eastern wall.
It's canon. Deal with it.
Yes.
Can Audrey make an Arcana check to see if there is something that they might substitute?
Yes.
Also,
Yes.
this is probably more of a nature check from my part.
Ugh.
I would like, because I have proficiency with an herbalism kit. So that means I have some kind of knowledge when it comes to potions and remedies and stuff like that. So I was wondering if I could join in that kind of a check, but use like nature for myself.
Go for it.
Okay.
You better than I did.
We'll see.
Do better than me.
Nature is a fucking intelligence check, but I figured might as well try, so.
Yeah.
That was so
9.
close to being in that 20, and
I
I'm so
know. It
sad.
teased you. It teased you.
That's the third time, too.
Nothing is coming to you immediately. Neither of you.
Okay.
You would, honestly, instead of simply thinking this is the sort of thing, you would have to sit down and test it out, hash it out, see if you can make something work.
Okay.
You're not sure. You may understand, like, oh yeah, direwolf heart. Of course, in this application, it seems like it would be okay, but at the same time, but what other properties? What makes it so important that it be a direwolf heart? Would any dog heart work, or could I use crushed bees? There's a number of things that maybe could be used, but nothing is coming to mind immediately. It's something where a couple of things, like there's a not necessarily a short list, but a list of things that you'd be willing to try, but you'd have to sit down and actually try them, and who knows how long that could take.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay.
I will make note to sit down later and jot those thoughts down.
Of course.
All right. What do you call it?
Are you satisfied, Miss Clume?
Boom kind of gives a small nod.
He folds up the book, wraps it in a band of leather, and places it back in his podium.
All
Then-
right.
You'll do it then.
Well, we cannot promise anything just yet, as we don't know where the direwolves are. We're not exactly about to go traipsing off into the forest, searching for something that's not there. That
Of
said, Erst crosses her arms and gives Clume a little grin. That said, I get the distinct impression that if we do know where they are, well, it'll be hard to stop.
What are you looking at me for?
Call it a hunch.
Clune kind of just like, she's like looking around, like kind of confused, like, what the fuck did I do?
What did I get involved in?
Erst shakes her head. Don't worry your little mom shroom cap. It's nothing.
At that, Mech, the Owlin Ranger, steps forward. Feathers a bit ruffled. He says, "Well, if you're looking for direwolves, I have an idea."
Oh? Erst turns with a grin.
Listen, all respect to Greg and Daynor for keeping track of everything, but my eye has spied a den.
A den, you say?
Oh, yes.
Clune
You see
walks
the-
behind. Sorry, I was like, Clune walks behind Udis and bonks her on the head with her staff and says, "Keep your den in your pants."
Oh my goodness. He ruffles, his feathers floofing a little bit uncomfortably. Nightly, upon the larger waning and full moons, the wolves howl, of course, and I have taken it upon myself to investigate.
Erst shoots Clume a little glare and then nods at the Owlin. Aye. So you actually found this den, did you?
Indeed, but I dare not get too close.
Aye. It would be a shame if even a feather on your head got harmed. But can you
That.
can you tell us where it is?
Yes. There's a set of ruins to the northwest of the northern gate of Arcala. If you follow the trail the keepers have left, I'm sure you'll see it in the distance. A ruined tower beyond the first range of hills.
Did you say? Oh, the northwest gate. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Northwest of the north gate, yes.
Ernest nods, jotting this little bit tidbit down in one of the more journally pads that she keeps. Northwest of the north gate, a tower, you say, and the tower itself is the den, or is it a cave or other structure nearby?
It is my belief that the tower itself is the den.
Ah. Clever wolves for using something that wouldn't fall in so easy.
Indeed, but the ruins give me an unsettling feeling.
Go on. Go on.
That's all I have.
That's all.
I haven't been paid to go out there, so I haven't.
I'm not risking my beak.
Sensible and handsome. What a combination.
Puffs up again. He's starting to get a little irritated. But anyway, you may confirm that with Captain Daynor if you wish, but on my honor as a ranger of Arcala, I believe that to be the den where you may find some wolves.
Erst nods and gives something approaching a formal bow. It's not too deep because, plans and all that, but it's notable. I thank you from an honorable member of House Eshtan to add to a noble ranger of the watch.
Yes. And he gives a similar bow, salute, fist on his chest, and walks away. Back to his station, watching over the poor mutants.
Erst's gaze lingers for a little bit as he goes, and there's a small mutter of, and beautiful.
God.
Perfect. Excellent.
All right. Bloom kind of looks at the other three, and she's like, she gives him a glance and kind of looks at Norik, and says, "So, with all due respect, this is a very great cause, but what's the payment?"
Norik Torperos he gives a bit of you can see he's smiling as his head takes a momentary dip. Kind of that smile of disappointment. Like, oh, okay, this is the kind they are.
Look, if we get chewed up by wolves, we're gonna need some money for potions,
Yes, of course. Actually, I do have something that may interest you.
Erst is going to go ahead and attempt to gently smooth the situation, not seem quite as directly mercenary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, isn't that what we are?
with a persuasion roll of 19, because I can't roll beneath a 10.
Yeah, very nice. Okay. And what are you trying to persuade?
Erst spreads her hands with a how does one say, entreating and humble little nod. Aye, it be so. Please do not think our motivations so crass, but it is important to think about being able to have the resources we need to get there, get back again, and make sure the hearts are retrieved.
Yes, of course. There is something that may help. He walks Over to a chest where a silent sentry is guarding. He nods to the sentry, who then opens the chest and procures a bag. He brings the bag over and opens it up. And Clume, because you initiated this, I would like you to roll a D100.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh great. Okay. D100 you said?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a deck of
Uh,
cards.
Oh, no.
65.
Shanksgy. Oh, wow. Well, there it is.
Oh,
Okay.
there's one
well,
coin.
He pulls the bag open to reveal another bag.
Oh.
This one embroidered
Oh,
with
no.
triangles of blue and red going all the way around the flap of it.
Is this some SpongeBob shit?
And the rest of it made out of a nice, high quality leather that seems rugged and used, but still very, very durable. He presents it to Quinn, being the nearest.
Mhm.
This is a bag of holding.
Oh.
Ooh.
Place the hearts in here and they will not spoil. And many other things as well. No matter how much you fill this bag, the weight will not increase.
Quinn,
Now that is a very thoughtful gift.
Quinn seems a little skeptical as he listens to the explanation, but he takes the bag and nods and thanks.
Clue, just out of sheer curiosity, kind of like taps Quinn on the knee and like beckons to hand her the bag.
And he'll do so.
She opens the bag and puts her staff in it.
Oh, I was
God.
expecting her to jam her head inside. That's a lot.
Right.
But
Yeah,
do you drop your staff into it, or do you just dip it in?
I dip like half of it in.
Okay, it's a very Mary Poppins moment where the staff disappears, going down and down and down into it, but there's no you don't feel the bottom of the bag, and the bag does not change shape as Quinn is holding it.
Ooh.
She takes out the staff and she's like, seems legit.
Fine.
Urs
Consider
carefully
this.
resists the temptation to use the prestidigitation she's got active to make it sound like smacking of lips as it retrieves.
That's nasty. Torperos gives a small nod of his head and says, "This is as much as we can afford to pay. Consider it in advance, a tool and a payment. Magic items like these are rare."
Yeah, given
Urs
this setting,
nods.
they're like, dang.
Yeah, I know.
That is exceptionally thoughtful, and we accept with gratitude.
Of course, I figure a group like yours would make much more use of it than we would here within the temple.
God, my D100 rolls are always good. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, 65 on magic item table B, bag of holding. There it is.
There it is.
I should have been a cleric, man. I probably get all my divine interventions.
Urs rolls things over in her head for a second. So the mutants, the poor mutated people are safe. We have the possibility of a cure, an ingredient that needs to be fetched, a possible location for it. There might be. First, turns to our newest friend, Norik. Is there anything else that you wanted to say to us before we set off?
Only that I hope the god of death's grasp is delayed for a while longer upon your souls.
Urs nods, and considers for a second. May we speak to you briefly in private about one other issue?
You may, yes. And he takes you upstairs. So these, obviously, right here, go up and up. and into an office. But for the sake of map stuff, we'll just say that this is his back office here. He closes the door behind him, turns back to you. Yes.
Let me be somewhat direct here. You, as we knew something about the mutants and the other going-ons here, there are other things that have been reaching our ears. What do you know about religious movements as of late?
Ah, you refer to the tree that has called the undead to it beyond the
Aye.
eastern wall. Sadly, my hands have been filled with the task at hand. From what I have gathered, it seems that the tree has some very strange properties indeed. People whispering a name, and seeing undead brought to some level of freshness, I suppose.
Aye.
As that is as far as I know of the matter.
Urist considers and sort of lets her gaze drift upward, as if in thought, and still as if just thinking. Slowly rolls them over until she can see the bird sitting on the back of Adre's hat, and quirks an eyebrow in the most subtle way possible.
Norik follows your gaze, sees the bird, kind of quirks his brow, but doesn't react otherwise.
Urst is more looking for a reaction from the bird.
Well, the bird is sitting there silently.
Well, fair enough. Urst turns back to him. I don't suppose you've been having any strange dreams as of late?
No, I haven't. Have you?
More than a couple, I'm afraid. But 'tis a hazard of recent days and recent works, I think. I do not mean to get too theological nor philosophical, but I am told that the names of the gods are closely kept secrets among the clergy. Aye?
That is a sensitive matter, but yes. The fact of the matter is that some do not know the names of their deities they worship anymore. They've been lost to time, or fragments of them have become mispronounced across the centuries.
Hurst nods. Aye, that is understandable. It has been a rough time.
Indeed. It seems that there was a time 400 years past, where the names of gods were well known, but then something happened that caused people, the clergy in particular, to treat them as something a little more sacred. Even I, with my advanced age, could not tell you exactly what that cause was.
First nods. 400 years. Now, would that be around the time of the founding of the cities and the coming of the beasts, if I'm correct?
I believe that would have been a time even before then. Maybe 500 or so years ago, back when Arkala was still a kingdom before a city.
So the city rose first, and the secrets came later. I see.
That seems to be the case. I am no historian, but I do know that much.
Now there is one or two more questions, and again, sorry for straying theological, but what is it you're called to do by the god of death?
typically give those that have passed as the spell is named, a gentle repose, to lay them to rest such their spirits are satisfied and may walk the rivers beyond.
She nods. And your attitude towards the undead?
Are personal.
She raises her hands. Apologies. Well, I believe we should speak again on this topic, perhaps a little later.
Indeed. When perhaps the Paladin Warren can join us, and maybe we can educate him on a few of these matters as well.
Educate Warren in the same sentence.
I believe that would be absolutely enlightening.
I was hoping that he would be able to join us for these meetings to understand what's at stake, but I guess I had other things to do.
Oh, trust me. All we have to do is say, we're gonna go kill some dire wolves in the name of God, and he'll follow us.
Can I take 2 seconds out of character here, Riley?
Yeah.
I am so upset that this wasn't a trap.
Yeah. should we just tell him what we did, or?
Yeah, because it's not going to
you.
pay off now.
All right. So
So Riley, why don't you read the spoilered
yeah.
Okay.
that I sent you?
So should I read Barry's first, or should I read yours first?
Either or.
Yeah, either
Okay.
or. And then once Riley reads it, we'll explain what we did.
Yeah, so here it is, chat. The great reveal. For once, it's actually, I'm a little bit satisfied that I ruined a player plan rather than the players ruining a DM plan. This is great. So all right,
This would have been fantastic if it paid off, though.
yeah. So here it is. Clume has cast gaseous form on Warren, and we have stowed him inside one of Adre's glass vials. Upon chucking it at the target, it smashes, and Warren would emerge.
And I could drop the spell so he resumes his form.
Yep, so, and then Barry says, I cast gaseous form on Warren as we guide the fog Warren into a bottle, and Zafane closes the bottle and holds it on his person. I can hold the spell on concentration for 1 hour and drop it whenever.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
It was secretly a plan to make sure Warren didn't mess up any of
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're
But also to have a surprise pocket paladin.
Yeah, it would have been a paladin grenade. Literally,
Yeah.
I would have thrown it and would have been like, Warren, I choose you.
Yeah.
I
Go be.
approve. I approve. If you wish to do this in the future, feel free.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we were looking for the payoff on that. We were looking hard to it.
But no, it's just that the High Priest of the God of Death wanted your help on curing the people
It's like,
under
damn
his...
it, we gotta help people instead of...
Why did Caden have to be so freaking suspicious?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, with your plan foiled, what do you do?
Well, Ernst assures the priest that Warren absolutely will be down for this, since he's always looking for more heroic deeds to do and ways to help people, especially in the service of the God of Death.
Okay. As a final note, before he pretty much lets you go, Torperos places a hand on the closest being Quinn, places a gentle hand on Quinn's shoulder and says, "It's rare that people are so willing to adventure beyond the walls. I feel fortunate to know you, and to know the other group that helped get these poor victims of Zaldosic's machinations to me. Without people like you, I worry that Arkala would steep into a stagnation the likes of which it would never recover from."
Aye. Though from what a little bird told me, so there are those that would appreciate that. Well, not a little bird, really. She's awfully tall.
Indeed. I will not waste your time any longer. If you wish to move on with your evening, I wish you a pleasant one.
Very good. We shall see you again.
Yes. He opens the door and guides you out of his back office.
As we're all leaving, Clume. Well, does he leave with us or does he stay?
No, he leaves with you. Yeah.
Well, as we all leave, Clume, like, I like him to kind of like opens the door and kind of like beckons us to leave first.
Yeah, he
And
opens the door. And
Yeah, and as he does that, and we all leave. Clume, jokingly, but knowing this will probably have big repercussions in the future, says, "The Mushroom Patch will get this done."
The Mushroom Pact.
The Mushroom Patch.
Oh,
I kind of packed a little better. But it's your guys' team name. It's up to you.
God.
We are not calling ourselves that.
the Mushroom Pact.
Well, you got a better one? Exactly.
Urs slowly raises an eyebrow.
This is going to be one of those Saturday morning cartoon gags where we have a different team name every episode, isn't it?
I love it.
Alright, so before we leave, Clume would like to do a little shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So after everyone, is going to start walking out,
Okay.
Clume turns left, tells them, to go ahead, she'll meet up with them, that kind of jazz.
Okay.
And, instead, she actually walks this way, back into the mutant room.
Okay. You are allowed in.
Forgets to
And
maintain concentrations. Adre's robe all of a sudden has a warren in it.
Poof!
so
It hasn't been an hour, I imagine. Not yet.
Yeah.
So Clume looks for Shroom and Mama Shroom.
They are there where you left them. It seems that Shroom has fallen asleep in her mother's lap.
Okay. Clume very slowly and gently starts walking over towards Mama Shroom.
Okay. She notices you, but stays still. She recognizes that you brought this little being back to her.
And Clume, similar to what she did for Shroom, she takes out something from her pack. This time, instead of being a little toy unicorn made of wood, she takes out a tiny hourglass, but the odd part about it is it has no sand in it.
Okay.
And she gives it to Mama Shroom, or at least attempts to.
She takes it slowly and carefully, tentatively.
Yeah. And even though she probably wouldn't know like long sentences, Bloom says in Elvish, she says, "Can we be friends?"
She grasps the hourglass, the empty hourglass in one hand, looks at you with these wide, alien-like eyes, shimmering in black and blue. You can see an extra set of hands is gently petting the little moth girl in her lap, and the larger hands are clutching the hourglass. She hears the word friend in Elvish, and you hear her mutter under her breath, "Don't look at me," in Elvish. "Don't look at me, don't look at me." But you get the sense, kind of judging by her behavior, it's almost like a reflex. That's not her meaning of conversing with you. But she eventually, "Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Friend? Friend? Friend."
Bloom gives a little nod, and she's like, "That's right."
Friend.
And
I want to go home.
Clune kind of takes a knee, which is rare for her considering how short she is.
Yep.
And she says, "Don't worry, we'll all go home soon."
Home. Friend.
And the hand that has the hourglass, she gently puts her hand on hers and like closes her hand around the hourglass.
Friend.
And she gets up, gives a small. She tries to take a page out of Udis's book, gives a small little bow, and she turns and starts to head out.
She
And
watches you go, gently whispering under her breath, "Don't look at me."
as she heads out, Plume reaches into her hair, pulls out a carrot, and starts eating it on her way out.
Okay.
I'm just becoming the carrot goblin at this point.
Catch up with your friends as they head towards the exit. Make your way back through the large hall of the cathedral and back out into the night streets of Arkala as the sun has well set beyond the walls and the stars begin to shine above. What do you do?
Well, I need to get my nighttime city music.
Yeah. Well, we're not about to set off against dire wolves this late. So, I suppose we're either heading to the bar or heading home.
Audrey will take a moment to let Warren out of the flask.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
Plume
need to
draws
know
concentration.
very specifically where you let me out.
Oh no.
Yes. Oh no, indeed.
So he's going to just sort of pour the mist out onto the street beside him. Like he's going to make sure that there's no one around to see.
That's Bob's
But,
flies.
Okay,
But,
yeah, it's relatively quiet as you duck behind a corner to let him out. Yeah.
He does that and then backs away from it before Plume goes to drop the concentration.
So everyone stand back from the mist.
As a minor note,
Yes.
folks in gaseous form still can see and hear.
Yes.
Seeing probably wouldn't have helped all that much, mind you.
Okay, so you drop concentration.
Concentration.
Okay.
Yep.
So basically, just coming, just barreling out of the smoke. You hear, "Surprise attack, heretics!" And he goes running down like he goes for a lunging grapple. Of course, there's no one in front of him. So instead, he just goes flying into like a bunch of barrels.
Roll an attack roll.
And just crashes into the. Oh no!
Can you hit a barrel? Is the question.
Oh dear.
Oh jeez, what is a normal attack roll? Just
With whatever weapon you would use as soon as you pop out of gaseous form.
Okay, well he's technically like he went for like a grapple. That's what he
Grapple.
did.
Okay, so
Athletics check.
strength check with proficiency or something like that.
Okay.
Yes. Grapple is athletics if you're the initiator.
Athletics. There we go. So yeah, go ahead and roll in athletics.
Ooh.
If you're the escapee, you roll athletics or acrobatics.
Okay. Here's what happens.
25!
25.
The Adre pours out the gaseous form that is Warren, and Plume takes a deep breath and lets out a resigned sigh, and out comes Warren, popping, "Surprise attack, heretics!" and goes lunging towards a barrel, grabs it, and German suplexes it upside down. Crash! The sound of splintering wood echoes down the hallway. A cat screams, and there is just a mess of old potatoes that just scatter across the ground in every direction.
Perfect.
It's funny. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Like, word for word.
I'm so glad I'm predictable.
Andre lets out a terribly disappointed sigh. Oh, that would have been amazing if that had been a trap.
Heretic, more like hash browns.
So Warren being very good. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, honestly, like Clume picks up a potato and hides it in her hair.
There you go.
It's just
It's already started sprouting roots because it's old.
Warren's like he's a little confused and he's looking around, and it's like, oh, was the I see the heretics were potatoes. Ah, I see. Very clever of them to try and hide, but we got them. He's like laying on his back after the suplex.
I will say, Riley, I literally just added a single potato to my inventory.
Now that'll become the new item that will mysteriously become a magical
Oh my
No.
god.
MacGuffin sort of thing. Yeah, who knows?
I'm fondly reminded of the There's an old gag that in earlier editions that artifact level items could not be identified with identifier detect magic, which led to players doing things along the lines of, "Wow, that rock slash cow slash thing had to be special. Quick, cast detect magic on it." Huh? Okay, it's not. It doesn't radiate magic. It's an artifact cow.
Yeah,
An artifact cow.
I don't miss those days. I do not miss paladins going like detect evil on every NPC.
Yeah.
But anyway, the night is yours.
Thorin
That's a
stands
weird
up.
thing to give us.
So I was really focused on my grad entries. So what exactly did I miss?
Everything.
Oh, I see.
I do believe that next time you should be listening to the conversation a little bit closer. But the short version is that if we manage to get our hands on the hearts of some dire wolves, the priest of death may be able to concoct, using his knowledge of curses and Zeldosic, that's the Lich, Zeldosic's spellbook / research manual, a cure for the mutants. So in short, we hunt wolves, mutants turn back to normal.
See? I knew the church was up to good. You all doubted me and said there would be heretics. Unless the potatoes were exactly heretics. And
They were not.
suspiciously eyes the potatoes.
No, Warren, I said that you were technically a heretic now.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's a longer story, but that's something we'll deal with once we've won our way into the priest's good graces by returning to him with what he needs to cure and showing that we're on the side of city and, well, other good things. It's going to be a very difficult conversation to explain. Turns to the bird, turns back to him. Everything. Basically everything.
Basically everything. Well then. Well, it's always good to do work for the those that need and it's for a good cause too. I can't wait to tell everyone that I helped get a cure by attacking a bunch of direwolves.
Aye. It'll be quite the story.
He does go to reach back and grab Ragnall to put him back on his head if Adre would let him.
Yep.
And Ragnall allows this to happen.
With a disparaging sigh.
Reaches out, grabs the bird. Squeak! This is my life now.
This is my life now.
Okay.
Hold resurrected god gentle like hamburger.
I was thinking that this whole time. How dare you?
Like gentle like hamburger.
The memes are strong with this crew. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah.